So we've previously been looking at priority queues. We looked at priority queues with simple things like strings. And while that's helpful, it's also very limited. There's a lot of other classes out there. So we saw how can we add the comparable interface to a product, our own user-defined class, that will allow us to then go in and use the object. Well, what happens if we're using a class? Well, let's say we don't have access to. We got it from a third package or something like that. How can we make that work? Well, with a little bit of knowledge, and if we have access to some of the information stored in that object, we can make it work too. But when we switch to product, remember we implement comparable. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to real quickly comment this out. And I'm going to comment out the compare to method. So if I go and try to run this priority queue example again, you're going to notice that it's going to give us that exception. So how are we going to make this work? Well, I'm going to create a new object called Comparator. And it's going to be for type product. And we'll just call it Comparator. That was kind of suggested to us. We can do it this way. We're going to say equals comparator dot, and then we're going to say comparing double. Now the double is going to be because we want to compare based upon price. Obviously we could compare on something else. So the question is going to be, what are we going to compare it to? Well, it's going to be product, colon, and get price. Now you'll notice I didn't say price, price being our attribute, but get price is our public method that allows us access to the price. Next, we're going to pass in comparator to our priority queue constructor. So one of the things that the priority queue constructor allows us to do is to define how do we want this to display. So now if I come and run this, now you notice that when I loop through my priority queue, my elements are now being displayed in ascending order. Now, what happens if I want descending order? I want a higher number to be a higher priority. Well, I can use this exact same thing, comparator.comparing double, but I'm going to come up here after my comparing double and say dot reversed. Now when I run this, you notice that it starts at my highest value and goes to my lowest. So this way, if we didn't have access to a method, we didn't even know what the attributes were of the method, but we knew the public methods that gave us the value that we want to compare to, we can now test against that. So it's really, really simple. This is new, I believe it was version Java 1.8. So this is a newer thing, but it gives us a lot more flexibility, a lot more power when using some of those built-in Java data structures. So just keep that in mind when you're using priority queues. You can use them on all different types of things with a little bit of knowledge. Keep watching more videos in this series on more types of built-in data structures being used inside of Java.